And your favorite podcaster is?
Bobby Howard, of course. The only one I listen to. The only place there's no fake news.
The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now, from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here are your hosts of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard and Taylor Welch.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for August 20th, 2026. This is season 16, episode number 2, and episode number 596. Oh my gosh, we're only 4 away from 600 episodes of the Power Play Post Show. And of course, I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And Taylor, it is Wednesday. It is August 19th, 2026. And we're recording this right now. Everyone, you're going to get to hear this, whenever this gets posted later on, or tomorrow morning, or maybe you're going to listen to this on Friday, and you're going to be like, Bob, you've lost your mind. You're questioning the process. You're saying we're lost. We don't have a D-man. We don't have enough D-men. But that's just the way it is right now. And that's how I'm thinking. That's my mindset. I did release a video on Wednesday saying, what is our biggest need? Because Stone retired, and what is our biggest need? We need a D-man just like Dan Stone, a puck mover, but also at the same time a stay-at-home defenseman who allowed the number one defenseman in the league the last 3 years, whether it be Dakota Bond or whether it be DeRazio, to do what they do best, which is go up and get into the offensive play and do it. Yes, I realize, everyone, I sound like a downer. I don't mean to be. I just care so much about the team and the team's success.
It's a super valid point. I mean, Dan Stone really has been like that quiet cornerstone of the team for the last 3 years.
Yes,
that he's been a part of it. And I mean, we've gotten 3 championships with him. So you can't take away anything that he's done and everything that's been a part of this team. And we've talked about it many, many times of it's so hard to find somebody that can replace certain players and, what their abilities to do things. And the only thing that I can kind of say to that is we said the same thing about Dakota Bond when he wasn't coming back this last season, that everyone's kind of panicking about how do you replace somebody that's that good? The Dakota Bond and Dan Stone's plus minus the second season, which is so funny, looking at the notes earlier, and I feel like we talk about everybody's second season. The second season we won the cup in a row, and it was like, that seems like it was everyone's best season.
Yeah. Well,
we talk about Connor McAnanamon, we talk about Dan Stone, and it's just like the seasons they had, their second season was absolutely phenomenal. And I think Dakota Bond and Dan Stone combined, their plus minus was over 100, which was insane for the two of them. And, we talked about how difficult it was going to be to replace him. And, Brant finds Austin DeRazio, and he did a great job filling a role that we needed filled, and to do it in a certain way. So I guess that's where I'm not concerned, is because I know Brant has the ability to find these guys. And even though I guess that technically has to go to Sirota, because Sirota kind of brought this guy in, but Brant has the ability to really stick out and find these guys and recruit them. And I'm overall impressed with, the talent that Brant can find and be able to put it on one team. Because I think that's probably the issue that, Coach Paulin has with Brant, is that he has the ability to find these guys. And even people in Danbury say all the time how jealous they are that Brant is able to get these guys to come in and where he finds these guys and that type of thing. So I guess that's where I lie, is that I'm not as concerned. I get the concern. Dan Stone really has been like the quiet cornerstone of the team the last several years, but I don't know. It'll be an interesting thing to find out how we get him replaced.
Yeah, well, I look at it this way. When you have Dan Stone there and the work that he does as a guy who doesn't jump into the play as much because he protects the blue line. He protects your goaltender as much as possible. And his size and his ability and his reach and everything that he did allows that D1 on that pairing to go up and get into the play because they know that Dan Stone was going to be back there. That's why I think, D-Raz was able to recover the team so well when Dakota Bond left. D-Raz came in, and after about a month, he was ready to go, and he was able to jump into play and use his offensive skills like he's always done. And we don't have that now. That's just it. I'm not saying that Jesse Anderson couldn't fill that role. Maybe he could. Maybe he could be on the top D pair line, paired up with another very good offensive defenseman, which we don't know who that's going to be. Maybe it ends up being D-Raz again. We just don't know. My point is the foundation of that pairing is gone now. That foundation of that first line D pair is gone. And even though I've known about this for 2 months, when it came out yesterday, I was like, oh, it's real. It's really real. And that part hurts because I think that the one thing that has improved so much over the last 3 years, Taylor, is the defense and how well the defense is played from season 1 of the championship, right? The first championship to the last year's championship was so good. The difference between the 3 years, the defense just got better and better and better each year.
Yeah, I definitely can't disagree with that statement. In my opinion, it doesn't matter how good your forwards are if you have a great defense. I think that just kind of goes to show that I get why, this is like what are we going to do? Like, what's the team going to look like thing? Because, Dan Stone was definitely somebody on the ice that you could rely on and count on. And we could probably count on one hand the amount of times that he had a slip up or that, something led to a goal for the other team.
Right.
And yet still in those moments, he was able to turn those around and score immediately after that or something. So it was always it was very interesting. But yeah, to have a defenseman that doesn't make hardly any mistakes in the 3 years that he was here, that's impressive in its own. And, to be able to, like I said, count on one hand probably the amount of mistakes he's had. It's definitely going to be something that's so hard to replicate and find somebody that can be, as good as him. And, that it's not a knock against any other defenseman that we have. No. But when you look at the way that they're compared and the way that they play, they're all so different in their styles and the way that they play. It's why Brant matches them up the way that he does and why you see, Scott Romaker is playing with Jesse Anderson and why you see, Dan Stone with Austin D'Orazio. It's the reason that you see these guys lined up the way that they do. So yeah, I truly think I could see Jesse as the D1 more than I could see him as a D2, and that's no knock against him by any means. No. I think Jesse's a phenomenal defenseman, but I just don't think that he is the correct player for that role. And again, that's no knock against anybody. It's just they're very different roles, and I think defensively, it's harder to come up with, a good defense all the way through than it is to find forwards, because it's easy to find forwards and fill spots. And it's not so easy to fill defenseman spots because they have such an important role. Yeah.
And the other thing I want to say is this. I'd feel better if Dan Wieber didn't go and get a freaking job and start his real life world, because Dan Wieber could be the Dan Stone, right? Dan Wieber, who basically could go up and be on that D2 on that first pairing. He could be that D2 on the first pairing where he protected the blue line, but then at the same time can get the puck over to a D1 kind of player, an offensive threat for a defenseman, or have that guy jump into play. Dan Wieber, whenever Dan Stone was out, Dan Wieber would be moved up to that role. And he played that role really, really well. And sometimes Dan Wieber and Dan Stone played together on the same line. But generally when Dan Stone was out, Dan Wieber went up there. And we don't have that. So that adds to this, right? And again, I'm not saying that Brant Sherwood won't figure it out. I believe he will. What I'm telling people right now, August 19th, 2026 at 3:51 p.m., I don't know who those players are. I don't know who's going to be the D1 or the D2 on the first pairing. It's that simple. Jesse Anderson and Scott Romakers, if Romakers does sign and come back, which I've been told that's more than likely going to happen, I think you put that's your second pairing again because they played so well together. They went out there and they both moved the puck. They both have good offensive instincts, so they know what to do with the puck once they get, into the neutral zone and getting it to the forwards in front of them. They're very good at that. And you put them back together again, I think that's absolutely fine. But I'm not sure what you do with that because Cheech is not ready. I don't think Cheech is going to be. Maybe Cheech comes in and he presses the crap out of all of us, and he's the guy that goes into one of those positions. I don't know. That's why I don't know if it's one of the rookies, Marquise Brown or Martin's Leps, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. So it's an interesting conversation. I did not want to derail the first 10 minutes of the show talking about this because obviously I made the video about it. But we talked about it, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. But really what I wanted to open up the show with was discussing the 5 players that the Black Bears have to date, which is Ivan Bondarenko, CJ Stubbs, Zach Sirota, Jesse Anderson, and Chicho Lathland. Since the last time we talked, I think there was only 3 guys that were returned and signed back. But now Zach Sirota, Jesse Anderson are also signed. And Taylor, I have to say, we have the makings of a first line. I mean, if you put Zach Sirota in between Ivan Bondarenko and CJ Stubbs, that'd be a pretty good line, right? More than likely, he's going to be on the second line, centering the second line, and there's going to be somebody else on that first line with Ivan Bondarenko and CJ Stubbs. You have Jesse Anderson and Chicho Lathland back on defense. So there's 5 returning players right there. And when you look at all the numbers, the amount of goals, assists, and points that all 5 of those guys got, that's more than sometimes some of your bottom feeding teams of last year. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, that's, so many people had such an outstanding season last year. And to see that, quite a few of those guys are coming back is impressive. I'm surprised Sirota's coming back, and that's nothing against him I didn't have any, indication he wasn't coming back. I just thought he kind of got a taste of the SP and that he was going to, try to go there. Right. So to hear that he was kind of wanting to come back, I thought that was a great sign. And it just kind of adds to the fact that a lot of these guys just want to play here in Binghamton. Like this is where they want to be. And it's coming to truth that like Binghamton is a home for these guys and they truly don't want to be anywhere else. I mean, CJ Stubbs, all the way from Utah, is crazy to me. Especially
and he
now,
wants to come back.
I was worried. I was so worried that when they announced California teams, I'm like, well, if he truly just wants to play the game because he just loves the game of hockey, like he could be so much closer to home and play for a California team. Yeah. But he wants to be here in Binghamton. Yeah. And that to me is just, it's so impressive. And if we got a couple more of the returning guys that we possibly could have, I guess that's why I'm not too worried about how this season's going to go for us. I'm pretty excited and pretty pumped for it, to be honest.
No, I understand. And again, this is a challenge for Brant Sherwood to put this team together and figure out the rookies and see which ones are going to be the right fit, which ones have the skill, which ones have the right drive, the ones that really want to work hard and either win a cup or move up, right? That's the motto. So I think, the 5 guys that we have now is a great foundation to build towards the beginning of the season. And if possibly returning is Scott Romakers, Garrett Sargis, Gavin Neitz, and Dominik Tmej, because I think Dominik Tmej has a very hard role or a very hard upcoming camp to go to. Because not only is he going to be competing against one other person or 2 other people, but 3 other people he's going to be competing with in Roanoke to win that position. So, and my thoughts about Dom is this. It doesn't make sense to me for him to take a backup position in Roanoke. It's still single A hockey. He can come down here or he can come here to Binghamton and get more minutes, more playing time, and be the number 1 here in Binghamton. If he wins the number 1 in Roanoke, awesome. Good for him. Do it. Absolutely 100%. Even though I think single A, just play here. It's the situation, whatever. But if this is a challenge that he wants to do, then go there and be the number 1 there if you can be the number 1 there. But if you can't be the number 1 in Roanoke, come here and be our number 1. I have no problem saying that. I have no problems being a little greedy and saying, hey, I would rather have Dom here than playing up in Roanoke as a backup. I'm sorry. I'm going to say that because it's better for Binghamton.
No, I agree with that statement 100%. And, we always talk about it's easier for goalies, or I guess a lot harder for goalies to move up because there's only so many positions.
Right.
And realistically, you have one. You want to be the starting goalie. If you can, like Connor McNamara, who went to the ECHL, was fine with that, not even playing, sitting on the bench, just being a part of the team because it gets you seen.
Yes.
And, he was up there and now he's going back to Peoria. It gets you, it gets you a foot in the door type of thing. But to go and play a whole season just sitting as a backup where you could be a starting goalie and just improve your numbers and improve your stats and work on your game and, be part of something that obviously has a great reputation here. I mean, 3 in a row, come on. I would choose that over, playing as a backup. And of course he's going to make his own decision and he's going to choose whatever's going to work better for him and, the opportunities that he's looking for. But I'm with you in hoping that he chooses to stay here in Binghamton.
Yeah. And then of course there's Scott Romakers, who I think is still working in town for the company that he's working for. So he's still here in Binghamton working and trying to, work on that financial career that he wants to eventually get into, which a lot of the players, believe it or not, they got these financial jobs and whatnot. Nick Swain, he's a finance genius as well, which is kind of crazy. But Scott Romakers, he could be playing. Garrett Sarge is the one that I was like surprised on to hear that he wants to come back. So whether or not he signs, and if he does sign, great. And then of course there's Gavin Yates, who I think, we really, I mean, I know there's some torn thoughts about that. We don't want him to get injured. We want him to be able to live the rest of his life with Dana and the zoo that they have at their house, which is insane from all the pictures and everything Dana's ever showed me about their house, because they have snakes and which is scary, which they'd crawl through the walls and come at me if I actually stayed in the house. But that's just my irrational fears about snakes. But if those 4 guys do come back, Romakers, Sargis, Yates, and Tmej, all of a sudden this team looks very scary in my eyes to other teams because Brant Sherwood is leading that team.
Yeah, that's the way that I'm kind of looking at it. And I truly do hope that, the possibly returning players, I really do hope that they do come back for another season. Scott Romakers, I think, is just getting to know him, doing the interview and everything like that, just all around a great person. And I truthfully love his play. I mean, he's one of those players that you can stick anywhere and you're going to get, exactly what you're asking of him out of that role. Garrett Sargis, I know that one's just for Jeremy. I mean, he's a very big Sargis fan, so I know he wants a full season out of him, and he is just I think he's still waiting for a fight, which I don't think we'll ever get to see, but that's there. Gavin Yates, that one's, I'm so 50-50 on it.
Right.
Because, you and I have talked several seasons in a row that, he's eventually going to slow down and he's eventually not going to be the fastest player out there on the ice. And he just keeps proving us wrong, which is fine by all means. But, he's just one of those players that he's done everything you could possibly imagine in this league. He's gotten, the trophies and the MVPs, and he's won with this team and that team. There really isn't any more that he could do. So I would totally understand him not coming back and, choosing to retire. But at the same time, if you want to come back and you just want to play the game, he's such a phenomenal player. I don't blame him at all.
Yeah.
But, as a girlfriend standpoint, I totally see being worried and scared. I get that 100%. I mean, every time Jeremy straps into a race car because he's flipped so many times in front of me, I get the fear and the worry. But it's also, you can't take somebody away from their passion if that's what they want to do. You can, only support them and just be there, and hope that the safety, is in place enough, as scary as it can be sometimes. So
sure.
I'm so 50-50 on Gavin, but I would be 100% okay either way. If he decides to come back or, if he decides to hang him up. The only reason I would not be okay is if Gavin decides to sign with a different team. I might riot then, but I don't see that happening, but you never know.
Listen, you wouldn't be the only one that would riot. If he signed with a different team in the FPHL, Brant would riot. I would riot. There'd be a lot of rioters out there and whatnot. But if Gavin does sign and come back, I mean, I'll give him a big old hug. You know, he's about 5 inches shorter than me. I'll pick his ass up and give him a hug and wave him all around. I just would be happy to see him back. He's a great guy off the ice, 100%. You know, just an outstanding person. So is Garrett Sargis for that matter, and Scott Romiker is all three of those guys we talk about. And that's the big thing here. We're talking about all this, and if none of these guys come back, we have a bunch of other guys, all these rookies that are coming in that Brant Sherwood has basically picked to come here, right? And we have found that the majority of the players that Brant Sherwood has brought to this team have been outstanding individuals, just like Romikers and Sargis and Yates and all the different guys that he's brought in. So, I mean, Connor McAnanama, Nolan Egbert, and just great guys. Tmej, just phenomenal. So I don't think we have to worry about that. Now, Taylor, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering about Austin DeRazio. And I know that, you know, that's a topic that's interesting because I haven't heard which teams he might go to or what camps he's going into, but DeRazio could be a game changer for this team. I know we just talked about the defense stuff and whatnot, but a second year with DeRazio would be very interesting. It's kind of like the second year of Dakota Bond when he was so good in that second season, along with Stone. It's interesting. I would like to know sooner than later what's going on with DeRazio. You know, he's the one guy that, man, boy, did I feel bad for on that championship night when he couldn't be there and be in that game. And he wasn't even at the arena. He was in a hospital. I'd love to see him come back. But at the same time, if he's playing in the ECHL next year, totally cool with that too.
Yeah, I think he's definitely somebody that's probably been on the minds of probably every fan and even teammates because, you know, that was kind of scary to learn all that, you know, the final game. And I'm sure he probably beat himself up more not being there than anybody else is, you know, upset about him not being there. At least that's, you know, kind of the take that I got from it was that he was, you know, pretty upset about not being there, even though he's literally in a hospital. But that's just the hockey player mindset.
But he was in the right place where he needed to be at that time. I mean, let's be honest. They had to make sure that he was okay first.
And I love the fact that, you know, he was still like, you know, people, I don't know if it was Jan, somebody had him on, you know, video chat at the end there when everybody was celebrating. They brought his jersey out on the ice to take pictures and everything. So, you know, to see that and to see how included he was. Mm-hmm. But I'm again with you on this. And I don't know if it's selfish or not to want him to be back here for a second year, or if it's just, you know, like you kind of want players in one area for, in my opinion, more than one season. Typically, if I see a player and if you look at their numbers and it's, oh, well, they've jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped and they've gone here and here and here and here, unless they're moving up. So like if you went from the FPHL to the ECHL to the AHL to the NHL, those, if you're going to jump quickly from that, I'm not going to worry about it. But if you jump from, you know, the FPHL to the SPHL, back to the FPHL, back to this team, that team, the constant jumps is where I kind of worry. Mm-hmm. So if they're not doing that, then, you know, by all means, go ahead. I just, either way, I mean, as much as I would love for him to be back here, because again, he did a great job this past season. I'd like to see it do it again. And, you know, the few times that I've gone to the arena to watch practices with you, he's somebody that kind of catches your eyes during practice. And, you know, you made the comment that he's the first one there, last one out type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And to really see that happening because I've never gone to a practice before, and to see them happen in the way that it's laid out, and you can kind of see like the way that everybody, you know, handles themselves. And you have guys who have jobs that, you know, they need to get in and get out, and they've got to do this and they've got to do that. And then you see the guys that are still on the ice after everybody else is gone, practicing or training with kids or, you know, whatever is going on. It's really awesome to see kind of everything fold out and see these guys work on certain things, or even with like another teammate type of thing. So I would love to see another season out of him. It would be great if he decided to come back. I would also completely understand if he is, in somewhere else, like in the ECHL, which would be crazy, but awesome at the same time.
True. All right. Before we go any further with this episode of the Power Play Post Show, we have a few quick things we want to remind everybody about.
First off, if you're listening to us right now, make sure you're subscribed. The Power Play Post Show is available on all your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you never miss an episode of the show.
We also want you to be a part of the conversation. Join Facebook, our Facebook community, by searching Power Play Post Show and become part of our growing family that follows the show. Like our posts, comment your thoughts, and share episodes with fellow fans, and let us know what you think, because this show is built around you, the fans.
And if you're looking for everything Binghamton hockey, make sure you visit binghamtonhockey.net. It's your home for Black Bears stats, history, records, team information, everything happening around Binghamton hockey.
And of course, we have another great episode this week for you. We'll bring you the latest Binghamton Black Bears news, which we've already started talking about, players updates, interviews, including today's interview with former Black Bears forward and now Motor City Rockers forward. Boo. Can we boo him? Yeah, we can boo him. Boo. Connor Smith will be on the show with us and plenty of more hockey conversation.
I can boo Motor City. I don't know if I can boo him specifically.
I'm booing that he went to Motor City. All right, I'm booing. Listen, he talks about it in the interview. You all get to hear it. I'm not booing him. Can I just say that sometimes fans get way too sensitive? You say one little thing, all of a sudden you're against somebody. It's not the case. Don't be so sensitive. It's okay. I could sit there and call up Connor Smith right now while we're doing the show and joke with him about it. And it's not a big deal.
So whether you're listening on your way to work, at the rink, or just relaxing at home, thanks for being part of the Power Play Post Show. Season 16 is underway, and we're excited to have you along for the ride.
All right. So we have, obviously, I think I'm going to read this part because I don't remember what we agreed upon. But let's talk about Dan Stone just a little bit more. He retires, ends his career as a three-peater, and all these numbers and all this information is great. Dan Stone is calling it a career after 3 memorable seasons with the Binghamton Black Bears, and what a 3 years it was. The Calgary, Alberta native arrived in Binghamton as a rookie in 2023-24 and was immediately established himself as the team's Iron Man, appearing in all 56 regular season games and all 7 playoff games as the Black Bears captured their first FPHL Commissioner's Cup championship. Stone finished his rookie campaign with 26 points and a plus 28 rating, and believe it or not, he doubles that for the next season. That's crazy. Earning recognition as the FPHL rookie all-star and beginning a run that would see him become one of the most dependable defensemen in franchise history. His second season was arguably his finest statistically. Stone recorded 9 goals and 36 assists for 45 points in 49 games during the 24-25 season, while leading the entire FPHL with an incredible plus 56. He helped the Black Bears capture their second Commissioner's Cup, and by his third season, his importance to the organization went beyond his play on the ice. Stone was awarded an A and became a part of Binghamton's leadership group for the 25-26 campaign, helping guide the Black Bears to an unprecedented third straight championship. In all, Stone leaves Binghamton as a 3-time Commissioner's Cup champion, having played 155 regular season games, all 24 playoff games during the Black Bears' 3-year championship run. He recorded 20 goals, 76 assists for 96 points, added 11 points in the postseason, finished his Black Bears career with a remarkable 115 plus-minus rating. From Ironman rookie to rookie all-star to FPHL plus-minus leader to alternate captain, Dan Stone's Black Bears career was a highlight reel of championship consistency and leadership, and the contributions will forever be the foundation of the Binghamton historic three-peat. Taylor, can we understate how important Dan Stone was the last 3 years?
I don't know. I mean, just reading off those numbers, it's so crazy to look at. And that second season alone, the plus 56 is what captures me. Every time I see that, and you know what him and Dakota Bond did that season, it was just such an impressive feat in itself. And to look at all these numbers, and you know, if I didn't know any better, I would have said that, you know, this was probably a championship team just based off of like what this one defenseman did type of thing. And that's probably a really bad thing to say, because you never put the team on like just one person. But truly what Dan Stone has done for this team is absolutely remarkable. And I don't think we would have been the team that we were without him, for sure. And it was so great that he got to wear a letter this season. And, you know, Brant definitely talks about there are so many people on the team that could probably wear a letter. And it's kind of hard to, I guess, divide that up to, you know, a certain amount. And it's just, he has deserved everything that he has gotten. And to kind of end it on this note is insane. To be like, yeah, I'm going to hang up the skates now after winning it 3 times in a row. And it's just, you know, you want to end on a high, and that to me, it's a perfect ending. And I'm very happy for him. Very sad for us, but very, very happy for him. And, you know, I'm just excited to kind of see what this season does look like for us. And I hope we get to see him around. But as long as he, you know, actually truly retires and doesn't come back for another team, but
well, there's not one close to Calgary. I know he's back in Calgary. I know next year he'll probably play some senior A with Josh Fletcher, because they played together. You know, they play together in the off seasons together in senior A hockey, which is pretty high level for Canadians. And so I know he'll probably do that, and he'll probably play with Fletch, and Fletch is probably going to be listening to this. Dan, I know, tunes in every once in a while and listens to this, and I just want to say, you're 30 years old, Dan. I think you could still play another 4 or 5 years. I truly believe that you have the skill and the ability to continue to play. I'm not asking you to. I'm not saying that you should. Well, yeah, I am saying you should, but I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to encourage you to come back, but I do think that he had the skill and the ability to continue to play for the next 4 or 5 years at this level or whatever he wanted to achieve. He's that good of a player. And as I said on my video that I released on Wednesday, I got to have a breakfast with Dan Stone while I was going to breakfast with the Wiebers and the McAnanimas. And I knew Dan Wieber was going to be there. I knew Connor was going to be there. Dan Stone sitting next to me during that was great. I got to hear him talk a little bit and just got to know him a little bit more. He told some stories, and it was just a lot of fun, and I really just appreciate those moments like that, and I got one of those with Stone. So it was a great moment. Again, I think he could play another 4 or 5 years, at least in my opinion. He's 30 years old. I think he could play until he was 34, 35 years old. The style of hockey that he plays, he could certainly keep that up at a very high level. And but I'm very appreciative that he was here, and I'm very appreciative that he came on the show, even though he refused the first time. He said politely, "No, thank you," because that's what Canadians do. They say no, thank you very politely. And then he came on, and it was a great interview, and it was good to talk to him. It was good to get to know him. He's a quiet kind of guy, unless you really, really know him very, very well. And but he was always very nice to us, and he loved the poster last year. He really did. He was like, "Wait, this is you, Bob? You guys created this?" I'm like, "Yeah, Taylor did it. It's one of my pictures." And the smile on his face was enough for me. That was the best part. So again, 3 great years with Dan Stone, and I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, I think he's one of those players that I've never talked to, and I think I've only heard him speak like 2 times out of any of the times that I've gone to a Booster Club meeting, if he was there, any of the parties that they had that I've been to, which I have not been to very many, but he's definitely comes off as a very quiet, you know, kind of reserved person. But from everything that I've seen, you know, from fan interactions and people who have talked about him, he's been like just overall just absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, the fan base that does, like, he's got his own like fan section type of thing. Like, there's just so many diehard fans for certain players, and it that kind of, communications and the stuff that these players do for these fans, it makes me so happy on the inside. So to lose that aspect alone that I think is probably the hardest part. Is not so much that, we're going to miss this play on the ice, because of course we will, but, a lot of these fans aren't going to be able to see him, after the games and get their pictures with him and talk to him type of thing. So I think that's probably one of the hardest things to do. And I think that's probably why we take it so hard when these players do move on, because you don't really get to say like a goodbye thing. You just kind of get, the thing that the Black Bears post on Facebook, and that's pretty much it. And, you're lucky if they do come back, whether for the ring or for a game or two, which they've got to be really careful doing that and just, take Kyle Steffen's word for that. But
I can't imagine Dan Stone showing up for opening night this year, coming in from Calgary. And if he does, bring your hockey gear, because you may not go back. I'm just saying, you just might be looking out on the ice.
Or you have to hope Andreas is in the area and he's, in Mid-South or Baton Rouge or something.
Because you don't want to have that conversation. Listen, we've already
get to a point where players are going to start reaching out to Brant and being like, hey, is Andreas going to be there this weekend? Because we're not coming if he
or can you send me my ring through FedEx? Right. Do not invite me for the ring ceremony. I would rather stay home, because my decision is made and you're not going to entice me to come back with a flashy little ring and a conversation from Andreas. So, all right, folks, let's get off to, speaking of the joke, Connor Smith, he came on the show a couple years ago and said, oh yeah, I'm done. I'm going to hang him up. I'm going to go work for Ford Motor Company. And then he decided to come back. So we're going to talk to
now
Connor.
He's a traitor.
He's now, guy, I know. Connor, we love you. We love you so much and everything. We wish you well. But coming up next year on the Power Play Post Show, my conversation with Connor Smith. We'll be right back, right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers. Hi, this is Brandon Buczynski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to Season 16, Episode number 2 of the Power Play Post Show. And we have a great guest with us right now. And he's somebody who came on the show after winning his first championship and did retire from professional hockey. But after getting his ring, he got the itch to come back. And this is that gentleman right now. He is Connor Smith. Connor, welcome back to the show. It's great to talk to you, and it's always a pleasure when you give us your time to talk to us.
Yeah, it's good to be back and hear from you again, Bob.
Connor, you did come back, and you got the ring, and I remember being in the corner with you, and you showing me the ring, and you did have that look on your face that you just wanted to quit your job and play right then and there. Probably took a lot of strength not to do that. Talk a little bit about that moment when you did get the ring and you were there, the banner raising ceremony. That was something that did affect you, and you've kind of held on to that just a little bit over the last couple of years, correct?
Yeah, I mean, being back in the building and interacting with all the fans again and just being in that atmosphere really, really kind of hit me a little bit and made me want to come back. And obviously, I kind of talked with Sherwood a little bit about it, and it was better for me in the long run to stay with my job rather than try to continue to play hockey as much as I really wanted to, and really just miss being out there with everybody.
Well, if I remember correctly, you were battling an injury at the end of your first season and whatnot. That is all completely, you're all completely healed now, right?
Oh yeah. I had I believe it was a little small fracture in my ankle from a shot that I took off the high ankle in Port Huron, and I had to wear a little bit of a pad for the rest of the season, but it wasn't anything too major.
So that was a Matt Graham shot, right? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if it was or not, but it'd be
I don't
it'd be
remember,
funny,
to be honest with you.
Yeah. So Obviously you've been working the last couple of years. We had you on the show just before the Black Bears, I think, won their second championship, and you basically knew that they were going to win. You were pretty confident in the team and in Jersey and whatnot. So it's always been a pleasure to get to talk to you. What's the last couple of years been like for you? Just kind of working, working for Ford and doing the job. How's that been for you?
It's been good. I mean, obviously, like with any job, it's got its ups and downs for sure. But I really enjoy like the things that it allows me to do. And yeah, I mean, I've just been kind of busy working.
Now, when you got the opportunity, you saw that Motor City was coming back into the league. The itch was still there, right? There was this, I want to see if I can come back and play some more games and whatnot. And then tell the fans the story that you told me about how you got in touch with eventually Nick Fields. So
I obviously had wanted to do it last year, but they were not around. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get the opportunity. And Port Huron is just a little too far of a drive for me. Coming from either my house or even work is quite a ways away. With them having moved to Woodhaven, their new arena, it's only 20 minutes from work. So Devon Fields is an old teammate of mine in Dakota's from Adrian, and he had played some home games for them the year that I played in Binghamton. So I reached out to him when I saw that they were coming back and had moved to Wyandotte, and just was seeing if he knew anybody in the organization and could maybe get me in touch with them because I had some interest in playing. Spent quite a bit of time on the phone with Nick, kind of talking about what could and couldn't happen, where we're kind of at and all that stuff. And by the end of it, he asked me if I wanted to sign a PTO and see if we could make it work. And I said, yeah. So that's kind of the short version of how it came to be.
And how excited are you about this? I mean, it's still a couple months away, and obviously there's still obviously some arrangements for you in Motor City and, of course, your work to kind of figure out and everything. But how excited are you for this?
Oh, I mean, I'm beyond excited to be able to even have a chance at getting back on the ice, playing some competitive hockey again with some guys that I know pretty well that are already on the team. Like Avery Smith and I played against each other in college, so I know him a little bit. And then obviously Dakota coming back. It's nice to at least have a couple guys there that I know a little bit and already have some friendships made there.
Now, I know that you don't really know completely how things are going to work out yet, but are you hoping to at least make one trip out to Binghamton to play a couple games with Motor City in Binghamton? I know travel is going to be very tough for you, and you may not be able to travel that much. Probably go up to Port Huron for those games for sure. But are you hoping that you can somehow work out a trip to Binghamton to come back and play at the arena one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would love to be out there and see everybody again and be able to interact with everybody that I know out there. And if it's possible and I can make it out there for a couple games, I would love nothing more.
Connor, let me ask you a question, because we talked about it a little bit beforehand. You're not surprised with Binghamton winning 3 championships and what Jersey's accomplished. Talk a little bit about what you know about him and the reasons why you were not surprised with them winning 3.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's no surprise there. He's a great guy and an outstanding coach. I mean, everybody, it's the reason that he's able to recruit the people that he is because everybody wants to play for him. He's built a reputation for himself. And yeah, I mean, everybody wants to play for him because word gets around fast of how great of a coach he is and how much fun it is to play for him.
Tell me one thing that you miss about the Black Bears and the team.
I miss living with everybody was probably the best part. Obviously being on the ice and being around all the guys all the time, but just being in the same apartment complex with everybody being able to hang out whenever we just walk up a flight of stairs and all sit in a room together and just hang out and kind of talk about anything and everything. I miss the camaraderie of it all.
And how hard was that first year off? Like, because you had been in that type of environment for a long time. And we're not just talking about, oh, he played college hockey or he played high school hockey. You were on competitive teams, right? I mean, Adrian turned out to be a very good team, even after you left and Sebastian was kind of carrying the reins, so to speak, for the Smith name there. Adrian, very competitive. You've been a part of these types of locker rooms where they're good and whatnot. How hard was it that first year to not be a part of that environment for the first time in your life for a while?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it kind of felt like a piece of me was missing. I obviously watched the games and still talked with some of the guys and stuff like that. But from going from that every day of my life to that not being a part of my life anymore, it kind of felt like that something was missing.
And that's hard. And I remember what I said to you when you showed me your championship rings, and your Adrian one is, I think, just as beautiful as that first one is from Binghamton. I have a picture of it because you let me take a picture of both rings on your finger, and very, very beautiful. And I remember what I said to you, and it's the best advice I can give anybody. If you can continue to play. And that's why when I heard that you were signing a PTO contract, I was like, good. He's a good enough player. He's a great player. He should play. I really do think that. I said the same thing basically to Kyle Steffen too. It's like, listen, that's the best advice I can give anybody, which is just if you have the ability to still play, because it's hard to walk away. It's hard to do that. You've now done that for 2 years. Kyle was away from the game for 4 years before he came back to Binghamton. I don't think professional athletes or kids who have very good college careers don't understand until they live through it how tough it is when it's either taken away from you or you make that decision, because even though when you're good with the decision, you were good with the decision 3 years ago when you walked away, but it still was hard, correct?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the hardest things I ever had. I mean, hockey was obviously a huge part of my life for most of my life. And to walk away from the competitive hockey to join Ford and chase a career, it was extremely difficult for me.
Let's talk a little bit about your brother. So your brother Sebastian, I think he was the captain of Adrian the last 2 years, right? Last 2 seasons?
Correct. Yep.
Talk a little bit about him as a player and being able to, kind of share that ice time together when you guys were able to.
I think that really helped us because we grew up together playing out on the ice rink in the backyard and stuff like that, and just going out messing around. We played roller hockey together for a few years when we were growing up. He is a great player. He's got insane hockey IQ. He's got insane skills. Like, he's a very skilled player and very smart.
Now, last year he finished his college career and then went and played a little bit with the in Roanoke in the SPHL. Expected to play in the SPHL this upcoming season. If you had to explain the difference between your game and his game to the fans, now you guys obviously won't be playing against each other. He's playing in the SP, you're playing in the Fed. If you could explain to the fans what's the difference between the two different styles of hockey, or are they very similar?
I think for the most part, we're pretty similar. He's a little more defensive minded than I am, which that is one of the things that he is a lot better at than me, is the more defensive minded. That's why he was a center for quite a few years. He actually was up for a while. So I think that kind of helped him when he transitioned to become a forward to have that defensive mind. I think he's got a little bit better hockey IQ than me. I think he reads the play and doesn't always force some stuff like every once in a while. And yeah, I think outside of those, I think we have a pretty similar game.
What about the shot? Is your shot better than his?
I would like to say so, but he might say otherwise.
Yeah, no, that was one of the things that you were obviously known for when you played with Binghamton was how good your shot was and whatnot. How proud of you are you of him that he's now, going into the pro ranks, that he had such a successful career at Adrian as well? How proud of you are you of him as a brother?
Oh, ridiculously proud. I mean, I love seeing him do well. So it's good to see him moving up and doing what he can to obviously get to the highest level possible with everybody's goal. I mean, I would think that he would see at least a few games in the East Coast this year, as long as he does what I know he can do.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, let's hope that maybe he can be that first forward to make it from the SPHL to the NHL. I mean, you and I were talking off air about Simmons Fisher and Alexander Legoff, and the fact that these guys played their first couple of seasons in the FPHL and now have gone to camps or going to be going to camps, NHL camps, and more than likely playing in the AHL or the ECHL. But still, the times are changing a little bit in the Fed. Connor, you were part of that first initial class, I think, that were changing how the Fed looked. And part of that, of course, Brant Sherwood comes in, he does the recruiting, and he brings people together, and the X's and O's are together. But I think over the last couple of years, you've watched some of the games that the Black Bears have played. Even the systems that they're playing against have gotten better in the last 3 or 4 years. The league is just overall just getting better over time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, my dad had his thoughts on it before I started to play, and I even was kind of convinced by it at first that it was SPHL or I was done. And then when Brendan Stanko and I had our conversation with Brant at Big Boy Arena after our college season ended, it kind of made us think a little bit more, and I gave it a shot. And even my dad was like, wow, that wasn't what I expected. And it's getting progressively better every year.
It is. And one of the funny things about it was I remember when it was sold to me 5 years ago, when, they were bringing the team, we were going from the AHL. I mean, we were going from the Binghamton Devils of the AHL to the Binghamton Black Bears of the FPHL. One of the things they sold us was like, oh, it's going to be more rough and tumble. There's going to be a lot more fights. And quickly within a couple years, getting to your class, that third season, right? There was less fights. It was more about hockey. It was more about playing good hockey, defensive hockey. And you'd have a guy like Jake Schultz come in who then went up to the ECHL and played a few games. And you're like, wait a second here. This is an opportunity to maybe move up and do other things in the higher ranks of hockey. That's not what was sold to us 5 years ago or 6 years ago. And now, boom, here it is where they're talking about aligning with the 2-point system like the NHL does. And, they just redid the divisions to make it very similar to the NHL. There's a lot more consistency with what the NHL is doing. Last year, they went to the NHL rule book, things of that nature. It really has seen an improvement in the Fed. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even from the first year that I started when I came out of college, even from then until the following year, it was a huge difference.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting a little younger. They're getting a little faster. You're getting more guys coming from college, either NCAA or high level ACHA. I think it's every year is getting progressively better.
All right. So I have to ask, have you started skating yet this summer, and how much working out have you done?
A little bit here and there. I've been pretty busy with work, but I'm getting back into it more and more each week.
So are you skating locally? Is there a place local by that you're able to go and skate?
I haven't been able to skate a whole lot just because when my brother's skating and everything, it's either way too late at night for me to go when I have to go to work early the next morning, or it's during the day when I'm at work. So
wait, when is he skating? What time of night is he skating?
He's skating like on Sundays. He'll skate at like 7 or 8 in Ann Arbor.
Oh yeah.
So driving 45 minutes to an hour there to then have to come 45 to an hour home and then get up at 4 o'clock in the morning for work, it gets a little tough.
I can't wait until you get on the ice that first time and you're like, shit, I should have skated more. I should have skated more. Because that's going to happen. Yeah. You're going to have that thought in your mind. And you'll be like, Bob and I talked about this. I was like, I should have skated more during the summertime. What kind of working out are you doing, though? Because that is obviously something you could probably do at home or at a gym local by, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a gym at work. So a lot of times I'll take a gym bag with me to work. And then when we get done, I'll do whatever's in rotation for that day. So just kind of trying to stay in shape the best I can, been running and stuff like that a little bit more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So the last time that you played, Port Huron probably wasn't as good as they have been. I don't know if you paid attention to the rivalry between Binghamton and Port Huron. They're a lot more physical team than they were. You're going to probably see them probably the most out of any of the teams that you play against this upcoming year. Have you thought about their physicality and how you're going to be ready for that?
I mean, it's not much different from some other stuff I've dealt with. So,
well,
it's going to be another game for me.
Yep, kind of like Danbury, right? So you got to think about it. You remember how Danbury was with you guys. That's how Port Huron has become, but which is fine. They're a tough team and everything, and you probably know a couple of the boys that play up there. So as we get closer to the season and you work things out and whatnot, do you think you'll get nervous again before you step on the ice for that next time?
Oh, yeah. I mean, not being around it for a couple of years and then coming back, I think it might take a minute to get rid of the nerves and kind of settle back in, but I don't think it'll take me too long to get back to close to what I was. I definitely don't think I'll be as good as I was, but I think I'll be close.
Oh, I think the shot's going to be there. I know the shot's going to be there. You don't lose a shot. Like taking a shot is like riding a bike. You just don't forget. That shot will definitely be there. It's the skating. It's the legs. We all know it. It's the legs that's either gonna kill you or you're gonna be like, oh crap, I'm better than I thought I was. All right, I'm going to leave you with one last thing. And so I don't know if you knew, 2 weeks ago or last week, I talked to Brant Sherwood on our season debut of the Power Play Post Show for season 16. And he said, he goes, I got a call from Dakota before Dakota signed with Motor City because, Connor didn't reach out to me. He didn't talk to me about this and everything. Did you know that Dakota called Brant before coming back to Motor City?
No, I did not know that.
Is there a reason why you didn't call Brant? And I'm just picking. I'm not trying to start any trouble here.
No, I mean, I had heard that he was going to the SP, and honestly, it slipped my mind to give him a call, and I probably should, and I will give him a call at some point to kind of talk with him about it, because with him, the rumors of him going to the SP and what I had heard, I just kind of assumed
he loves you.
Must have slipped my mind. And
dude, he loves you. He was just joking and everything with me, but he's like, Dakota called me, and he goes, I didn't hear from Connor and everything, and I'm like, well, it's been a couple years, I mean, let's be honest, it's been a couple years, but I think there's a lot of fans here in Binghamton that are happy that you're going to be back on the ice and whatnot. And, I think when you're at the single A level, you have to think about I mean, there were guys on your team in 23-24 that were working full-time, that worked full-time jobs while they were doing it. Jesse Anderson was working. I think Austin Thompson worked a full-time job. At least I think he was. I think he was working remote. I think Logar was working. There were guys that were working. If they weren't playing hockey, they were working. And that's just the way it is at this level, right? And you have an ideal possibility for you, which is I can play for a team that's only 20 minutes away from where I live. And that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Kind of works out for you. Connor, thank you so much for coming on the show. As always, it's always a pleasure to get to talk to you. I'm kind of happy for you, man. I can't wait to see you on the ice again for the first time. Maybe you score a goal and Dakota gets the assist, or vice versa. You get the assist and Dakota scores the goal. I think that'll be pretty cool. You guys can beat up on Port Huron all season long. We'll be okay with that. Trust me, we're happy about that. Matter of fact, I even have told people like on the show here, it's like one of the best things about Motor City coming back is, you know, Dakota and Connor are going to be there. So automatically the level of play on Motor City should be pretty good just because the two of you are there. We know what you guys can do, right? We know you guys' abilities, and that's just going to be great because Motor City and Port Huron, you guys are going to play each other enough, and you're going to get to know each other, and those will be great battles for you guys.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited for it for sure.
Awesome. He is Connor Smith. Connor, thank you very much again.
Yeah. Thanks, Bob. It's always a pleasure.
And we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was Connor Smith. And yes, again, if everything works out for him, he will be playing hopefully as many games as he can for the Motor City Rockers. And he is hoping to get out to Binghamton, New York, and play a couple more games here in Binghamton where Taylor will probably boo him, cheer him. We're not really sure. I think she's undecided at the moment, right, Taylor?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I got to see how the season's going to play out for us first. Like if we come out real strong, then he might get a boo. I don't know. It depends on how well he's playing. It's been 2 seasons for him. And maybe he's got to shake the dust off, and I don't know. We'll have to see. If he comes out firing, I might be a little disappointed.
That's fair. All right. So moving on with the show, we do have a couple of things that we want to still talk about and whatnot. But the first one might be one of the answers to our defensive conversation that we've been talking about. Taylor, why don't you get into that one?
Black Bears add size to blue line with signing of Martins Leps. The Binghamton Black Bears have added some significant size to their defensive corps, announcing the signing of 23-year-old defenseman Martins Leps for the 2026-27 season. The Riga Latvia native is a 6'4", 212-pound left-shot defenseman who will be looking to make the jump to the professional level after 3 seasons of NCAA Division III hockey. Leps spent the past 3 seasons at New England College, appearing in 68 games and recording 2 goals and 4 assists for 6 points, along with 44 penalty minutes. His most productive collegiate season came in the 25-26 season when he scored 1 goal and added 2 assists in 23 games. While his offensive numbers were modest, his size and left-handed shot give the Black Bears another physical presence and a different look on the blue line. Before heading to New England College, Leps gained experience in junior hockey, splitting the 21-22 season between the Danbury Junior Hat Tricks and Louisiana Drillers.
Boo. We can boo that, right? We can boo that because it's Danbury? Oh.
Well, when I first read that, I was like, was it really Danbury Junior Hat Tricks?
Yeah, that's their null team, their North American Hockey League team, which is Junior A in North America.
That means he already has several years of experience playing hockey in North America, something that should help ease his transition into the professional game. Leps becomes just the second rookie defenseman signed by the Black Bears this season, joining Marquise Brown. He also joins second-year defenseman Chicha Laughlin as Binghamton continues to add younger pieces to its defensive group. A 6'4", 212-pound Leps gives head coach Brant Sherwood another big-bodied option on the blue line as the Black Bears prepare for their 6th season in Binghamton. After losing several veteran pieces from last year's championship roster, the addition of Leps is another indication that Binghamton is looking to build a defensive corps capable of maintaining the physicality and the competitiveness that has helped produce 3 consecutive Commissioner Cup championships.
Yeah, and I think, listen, the key here, he's a big body. Hopefully he comes in and he has all the skill that we kind of demand here in Binghamton, right? I mean, the level of hockey that we want to see here in Binghamton, is just higher than everywhere else, right? And, we expect that as fans. I think Brant expects that of the players that come in to be a higher level of hockey when they come in here. And maybe this is the guy that turns into the Dan Stone, right? The D2 where all he has to do is move that puck and get that to, the forwards, in the neutral zone. We talk about this all the time. And maybe he's the guy for that. And it'll be very interesting to find out if he is.
Yeah, I think the biggest hurdle for coming into Binghamton is getting through camp. Because I think once you can get through camp, if you show Brant Sherwood what he wants to see, then you're going to be pretty much set after that. Because Brant doesn't just bring in anybody. He doesn't just, sign people because he wants to and because he just, wants to get, roster spots filled up. He looks for certain things and looks for certain people. And I think that's once you can get through camp, and if you're in that first, because we can sign, I think it's 30. Is that what it was? You have up to 30 people?
I think up to 30. Yes, I believe for the non-expansion teams, which were a non-expansion team, obviously, I think you can have up to 30 players come into camp and be on your roster. And then you trim it down as you get closer to the first game of the season. You get a few extra guys for the first couple of weeks. I think the expansion teams can have up to 35 players, if I remember correctly, and then 30 players for the non-expansion teams. I don't think we'll get to 30. I don't think Brant will bring in that many guys. He can if he wants to, but I don't think he's going to.
Yeah, I don't see him bringing in any more extra than he absolutely needs to. I think once he finds what he's looking for, he's pretty much done at that point. But if you get through camp and you get through those first couple of games and Brant Sherwood, he has you on a certain line and playing with certain players, you're going to be pretty much set for life here in Binghamton as a hockey player, in my opinion. I mean, the fan base alone, the way that everybody treats everyone here. So, yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting camp. We talk all the time. I'm so glad that I'm not Brant Sherwood. But
it's true.
I think we're making steps in the right direction to kind of replace what we are kind of losing. And, either some players moving on, some players retiring, some players just not coming back. So I'm excited to see the rookies come in.
Me too. I really am. I cannot wait to get to camp. I know it's a month and a half away. I'm not wishing the summer away, even though a lot of people probably think I am wishing summer away. But I'm very excited for camp to get started so we can see that. Now, Taylor, in the last 2 weeks since we last talked, I think one of the other big pieces of news was that the Black Bears secured a long-term future in Binghamton with a 3-year lease extension. The new agreement with Broome County will keep the 3-time defending Commissioner's Cup champions at Division's Veterans Memorial Arena through the 2029-2030 season. So that's 4 more years coming up for the Black Bears. The Black Bears announced last week that they have extended their lease agreement with Broome County for an additional 3 seasons, ensuring that professional hockey will continue to call Vision's Veterans Memorial Arena home through the 29-30 Federal Prospects Hockey League season. The 3-year extension will begin following the conclusion of the upcoming 26-27 season, giving the Black Bears and the arena a long-term commitment that will carry the franchise through its 9th season in Binghamton. The agreement represents another important step in establishing the Black Bears as a long-term part of the Southern Tier sports landscape. This marks the second extension to the Black Bears' original lease agreement, which was 3 years. So they've done 3, 3, and 3 now, demonstrating the continued commitment between the franchise, Vision's Veterans Memorial Arena, and Broome County to keeping professional hockey in Binghamton. And regardless if you're an AHL fan or not, this is not a bad thing for Binghamton, New York, because the AHL more than likely will never come back. With the Black Bears preparing to enter their 6th season, the organization has quickly established itself as one of the area's premier professional sports franchises. The announcement was made during a press conference last Monday at Division's Veterans Memorial Arena with key figures there from the community, the organization in attendance, Black Bears owner Andreas Johansson, Binghamton Mayor Jared M. Cram, arena manager Chris Marion, and Broome County Executive Jason Garner were on hand for the announcement. I was there as well, and I was not kicked off the premises for not parking in the right spot. So that worked out well for me. I was very happy about that. For the Black Bears, the lease extension comes as the organization prepares to begin the 26-27 season. As the three-time defending Commissioners Cup champions, Binghamton has captured 3 consecutive FPHL championships, building a championship culture while continuing to grow its presence throughout the community. With this announcement, the Black Bears' future in Binghamton is now secure. And, Taylor, I know there's some fans out there that want the AHL to come back or the ECHL to come in, but this is good because if the team remains successful financially, forget the stuff on the ice, but if they continue to remain good financially, when you have 48.93 a sellout and you have 20 sellouts in a season or 15 or whatever it was, that is good for hockey staying here in Binghamton for the long term, regardless of what you think. This is like a bow put on the cake or a bow put on a present, as in the sense of the team has worked hard, the organization has worked hard, they're seeing the successes, and the city wants them back, the county wants them back, the arena wants them back. They just want me to park in a better spot. But my point here is this is a good thing overall.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why they want. I don't know if it's because of the level of play and that so many other teams have complained about facing the Black Bears and that they need to move up a level. But outside of like that, I don't quite understand wanting to bring the AHL back or anything like that, because there goes. I mean, we had the AHL, and I mean, granted, the team wasn't the greatest, and wasn't producing great numbers for anybody. But you had like no attendance either. And, we've had great attendance. We've had, you have the ability to go and talk to the players after the games. You have all this stuff that's available to you because of what's here and, what Brant has brought in and what Andreas has brought in. And like all of that would go away if you brought the AHL back, and prices would skyrocket. And, your $20 seat now becomes 40, 50, 60. And
whoa. That's a little high. That's a little high. I don't think it'll be $60.
We went to Syracuse, and I don't think it was that. I don't remember what it was for Syracuse, but
Binghamton, New York, the highest price ticket in all of hockey. $60 to watch, a couple guys from the streets play hockey. You make a good point though, right? I mean, like, Binghamton hockey is better today than it was 6 years ago. In a heartbeat. 6 years ago, the AHL didn't want us. 6 years ago, the New Jersey Devils didn't want us anymore. And we've gotten a commitment from Andreas Johansson that has been outstanding. The guy has put money into this organization. He's put money where his mouth is and turned this team. Now, of course, he turned over the reins of the personnel to Brant Sherwood, and Brant Sherwood has brought in all these players. But, you still got to look at the ownership group and say, we don't have what we have, and we're not going to have it again for another 4 years if it wasn't for the ownership group and how they conducted themselves when they got here. They realized, listen, we're coming into an AHL barn. We got to provide the best hockey, the best entertainment that we can, and they've certainly done that. And that includes the front office staff as well. All those people working hard up there in the office is some of the reasons why we've had such a success. And forget the games for a second. Fans showing up is the success which allowed the arena to give Andreas a fair deal here. I don't know the exact numbers, but what I can tell you right now is nobody went to the table and said, I need this, I want this. No, it was more of, hey, this could be helpful in the long-term success of this arena if we negotiated fairly at this rate. The Black Bears also did the same thing. Hey, we could use this and negotiate it in a fair way, and that's why it was so easy for everybody to come together and to tack on another 3 years, which will get us to 9 years with this team, which will be the third longest any team has been in Binghamton. That's a great thing.
And this is the exact reason why I think out of, so many ownerships that are in this league, that Andreas is truly
The best.
one of the few that I think could actually run multiple teams and have a stake in multiple teams.
Yeah.
Because of the way that he conducts himself. I mean, he very much gave the reins to Brant and was like, you bring in the players, you handle that side of it. The front office, it runs itself type of thing. They know what they're doing. They have, their set ways of doing things. And Andreas is so hands off. And because of what they've done here, that I think he can have success in other places. And I think that other places deserve that. And for other teams that have come in here and, have complained that, Binghamton has XYZ players and they need to be in a different league and we can't compete with them, get a better team. Like, I don't know what else to tell you, but it's hockey. It's a professional sport. This is all professional, and you can bring players in, and it's not that hard to do. And yeah, sometimes you get a player like Tim Kim. He wasn't here for very long, and he moved on.
Yeah.
I can't Toast. I can't think of what his actual name is.
Blake Tosto.
There we go. Yeah, I couldn't not think of that for the life of me. He comes and goes, and you get players like that every once in a while. But realistically, you can find really good players that want to play at this level, whether they've played in the FPHL or the SPHL or even the ECHL, or if they're just rookies trying to get a foot in the door to be professional. You can find so many talented players out there. You just need a Brant Sherwood, and you can't have our Brant Sherwood, but you got to try to find one.
You got to find your own. Yeah.
That was my one complaint that I heard so many times last season was, you guys need to play in a different league. And none other team, if we took the Black Bears out of this league, then, every other team would be competitive. Get a better team. Have a better organization running you. I don't know what else to tell you. But
what's funny?
Maybe we're just so spoiled here in Binghamton, and I'm just, a little bit harsh. But
what's funny is like, the comment that you made just now about like Brant Sherwood, it's amazing too, because I don't know if you can find another guy like him, right? It's maybe you can. I mean, there's probably other guys that are like him, but right now he's the perfect blend of, I'm going to be a player's friend and I'm going to be a player's coach. And that is a very difficult thing to master, and he's already doing that kind of thing. And he's got to tweak things here and there, and that's just kind of normal. But, what he does best is convince high-quality players that are good hockey players, but also good human beings, Taylor. And that's what you need to bring into all these other teams. But the success of the Black Bears will eventually lead to the success of this league, and I truly believe that. First of all, when you watch Motor City this upcoming year in Motor City, and you see Dakota Bond and you see Connor Smith out there on the ice together playing, and you see the quality of play, well, guess what, Motor City? Those are two guys that Brant Sherwood brought in. Cam Clark, Chris Mott. Chris Mott just signed with today I saw, I think, with
Stockton.
Stockton, yes. Guess what, Stockton Thunder fans? When you see Chris Mott play, he came in because of Brant Sherwood. And that's a good thing for this league. But you need more coaches that can do similar things, that kind of scouting, those kind of players. Bring them in. Bring them into an organized practice, an organized system in the locker room. A belief system that is important, that Kyle Steffen talks about all the time. Hey, the belief in this room is unmatched. Well, guess what? It was for 3 freaking seasons. And that's huge. That's the kind of coach you need to find. That's the kind of person you want running your team. You need to find that kind of guy. I just heard Jay Krupp, who's with the Monroe Moccasins, talking about Brant Sherwood on Bench Minor Hockey. And one of the things that he talked about, he's like, I wanted Brant to come back. He goes, it'd be great if he went up and coached in a different league, but I wanted him to come back because I don't want to just beat the Binghamton Black Bears. I want to beat Brant Sherwood. And that's a coach to a coach, right? That's an assistant coach to a head coach who are like very good, very close friends who talk to each other all the time. He wants to beat him because he's the best, and he's been the best the last 3 years. And he wants to do what Brant Sherwood does. That's good for the league. That's what you want to see around the league, is more guys be like Brant, regardless of what you think of him. You could hate him in Danbury. You can hate him in Twin City. You could hate him anywhere, Blue Ridge. You could absolutely despise the man as a human being. Go ahead. But guess what? He's won 3 championships. And every single player will agree with me. Taylor is going to agree with me. Andreas will agree with me. The common denominator of the last 3 seasons has been those 8 players that have won all 3 championships and Brant Sherwood.
Yeah, for sure. And, for Andreas to allow Brant to do that as well, because we ran into an issue, not our issue, but we saw an issue last season where we heard a conversation about, a head coach in another team had issues with the owner because, they wanted a certain player and they didn't want to release a certain player. And the coach themselves didn't have much say about what player comes and goes and who they could sign and who they couldn't sign. And Brant has total control over that. He has the ability to do whatever he wants with the roster. And it's all Brant. Andreas doesn't have any say on what he does and who he signs and who he lets go and, that kind of thing. Brant does it all. Yeah. And so I truly think you need an organization that has a coach where he has the ability to do that. You need a coach that you can trust and an ownership that you can trust. And I think that's what they've done here in Binghamton. Is I think Andreas has so much belief and trust in Brant, and it goes both ways, that they trust each other enough that Brant is able to do the things that he does and has brought in all of these people. And I'm pretty sure we could probably go down the numbers or go down the names, and there's probably a former Black Bear player on every single team. And I would truly believe that. I could honestly, I might even sit down and try to figure that out myself, because
I don't think there is on every single team, but I understand what you're saying, and your point is well made.
I'll figure it out. I will let you know before the night is over if it's true or not.
Well, you know what?
Because when you were going, when you were saying about, Motor City, when you see, Connor Smith and you see Dakota Bond out there, you can thank Binghamton. I was even going even Danbury. I mean, they've got Josh Newberg. You can thank us for that. Fort Huron, you can thank us for Jamie Bussell. I know he's one of your favorites.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that just kind of going through my head where I'm sure you could probably sit down, and I would say majority of the teams in this league probably have a former Black Bear on them.
You know what? Here's the thing. If you do that tonight, then let's go and see how that number changes after the first weekend of the season. First full weekend where we have at least every single team play at least one game. And see if that number changes. See if whatever it is now, because I think it's going to be a low number right at the moment, I bet you by the first week of the season, there's going to be more players playing on other teams that used to play with the Binghamton Black Bears. I think the number will change. I think the number will go up. So I'm kind of agreeing with you, but I'm just saying I think that you're going to see that. Listen, very well said, Taylor. All right. That'll do it for this episode of the Power Play Post Show. We want to thank each and every one of you for listening, watching, and supporting the show. Whether you've been with us since the beginning or just joining for the first time, we're glad you're here.
Don't forget to stay connected with us between episodes. Follow the Power Play Post Show on Facebook. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and catch every episode on YouTube. Be sure to like, comment, and share the show. It helps us reach even more hockey fans.
For the latest Binghamton Black Bears news, stats, history, interviews, and more, visit BinghamtonHockey.net. It's your home for everything Binghamton Hockey.
A special thank you to Rob Lapolis, our master of ceremonies, John Petitucci, our musical director, for making the Power Play Post Show what it is.
From my co-host, Taylor Welch, I'm Bob Howard, and thank you to Connor Smith for coming back on the show, and thank you for spending part of your day with us here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.